Hello, and welcome to the 2021 Veterans Florida Virtual Expo presented by Bank of America. I'm Amy Entris, and I am the Agriculture Program Manager for Veterans Florida, and I'm a Navy veteran. Today, we're joined with a very special guest, Eric Autery. Eric is an entrepreneur himself, and he also has a very special story because he has created a community garden in the agriculture industry. So we're going to go ahead and get started with a brief introduction of Eric and a little bit more about his background. So hello, Eric, and welcome.
How you doing?
Good, thank you.
Well, my name is Eric Autery, and I'm originally from Polk City, Florida, over in Polk County. Grew up a son of a citrus farmer. My father and mother picked citrus their whole life here in Florida. They owned a couple acres of citrus themselves, and also contracted stuff out, and also picked citrus themselves. So when I was coming up, I from a baby until I graduated to go to the military, I picked citrus here in Florida. Citrus, tomatoes, cucumbers, strawberries, everything pretty much.
So then when you had that in your background growing up, and then did you go to leave for the military after that and then come back?
Yes. I like I said before, we had our own farm. So most of our stuff that we ate came from our own big garden we had. We also had goats, pigs, cows, stuff like that. So I grew up pretty much doing organic farming before organic farming was a thing. We didn't have a lot of money, so we had to do everything naturally. We had chickens. We used to use the chicken feces to go sprinkle in the garden. We recycled everything, every scrap, like vegetable scraps, went back in the garden. I raised chickens, stuff like that. So after doing that all my life, I chose to go to the military to just explore the world. My father, by him going through his lifetime, he's traveled the world following citrus, following apples. So he would travel up north to pick apples, pick peaches, and he'll come back to Florida. And when I was growing up, I heard all his great stories. So I said, the best way for me to travel is to join the military. So I joined the military.
Mm-hmm. And so at what point was it after your military service that you decided to return to Florida and make it your home?
Yes, I traveled. I went to Germany. I was in Egypt, Korea, all over the United States. And the whole time I was in the military, I just felt a urge to come back home because of the great weather we have, of course. And just for me knowing my surroundings and everything here in Florida. So I decided to come on back home. I got out in 2003 and messed around a little bit in Virginia, and was dabbling here and there in agriculture. But I finally made my choice to come back here. And once I got here, I tried to do the whole office thing, stay in the office, stay in the AC. But it just wasn't my thing. It wasn't my thing. Nothing wrong with that, nothing against that, but it just wasn't my thing. I couldn't sit in the seat for 8 hours a day. So I started searching around for different agricultural fields I could go into. I thought about forestry at one point in time. I thought about a park ranger, different things. And then I went to a warehouse type plant I was working in, and I guess this is my final straw. And I said, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I'm not down with being inside of a warehouse for 12 hours. And I actually quit the job. I went to school to be a personal trainer because I like working out. And that fulfilled a little bitty piece of me. But the agriculture was in the back of my mind. It's like a needle in my mind poking at me. Want me to get back into agriculture.
Yes. So, and that's really what we'll focus on next is what you're doing now. And I know you have a couple of things that you're working on, but if you would just tell us a little bit more about currently what you're involved with.
Well, I called the VA and asked if they have any job openings in certain fields, and the young lady asked me, what do you like? I said, I like farming. She said, hold on, wait, say that again. I said, I like farming. She said, let me get back with you on that one, because that's just an odd question for most people to ask. And so she got back with me probably a couple months later, and she told me about IFAS here. Told me about the program here. I was going through the veterans program where they just introduce you to agriculture. The University of Florida, and just dipping your foot into the water about agriculture. Once I got here, I loved it. It's exactly what I wanted to do. I love digging in the dirt. I love digging in the soil, and it kind of sparked the idea in my head that I always had, was to start my own farm. Because I've been in the military and I've been to all these metropolitan cities. I was in Richmond, Virginia. I was in Fort Hood, Texas by Houston. I was in California. I was in Seattle, Washington, all these major cities. And everybody got their food from the grocery store, and they didn't know where it came from. So I said, how about if I start my own farm? Not because of the money is good, but not because of the money, more of education, let people know where these fruits and vegetables came from. It came straight from the ground, straight from off a plant. And for me, it's more of educating the urban community about, vegetables and where this stuff comes from and what chemicals are sprayed on it and how does it affect your daily life. Like I said before, I was a personal trainer, so I know the health benefits of, as they say now, organic food and just food that just comes from Publix, which is nothing wrong with Publix. It's just it's different, the time whereas in between you picking it and you eating it.
Yes, absolutely. So, so you briefly mentioned the Veterans Florida Agriculture Program, where you got an introduction to, or an overview of working in the agriculture industry at the University of Florida, IFAS, Institute of Food and Agricultural Sciences. So, and then you mentioned also that you're a personal trainer, and so you're interested in knowing the source of foods and the nutritional value of foods. So how did you become interested in starting your own community farm?
It was just the excitement of, first of all, being my own boss. Eventually one day I want to be my own boss. And just growing a business for myself. And also it was just the educational wise, the education of telling people where their fruits and vegetables come from. A lot, everybody nowadays they all this stuff comes in a can or comes from a certain grocery store or a certain place, and they really don't know where it's coming from, how old that tomato could be, or how old that corn or squash or potatoes. Funny story. My wife is from New Jersey, and big city girl, and I told her I want to be a farmer. She kind of looked at me sideways. She's like, what? I said, let me ask you a question. She's like, yeah, baby, what's up? I said, where does dirt come from? She said, I know that answer, Home Depot. I said, no, not Home Depot. And it was funny. And she's like, why are you laughing? And it's funny to me that people really don't know where things like soil comes from. I have chickens on my farm, and I got up one Saturday and I told my wife, I said, hey babe, I'm gonna go feed the chickens. She said, you gotta feed them again? I said, yes, chickens eat every day just like you. And it's just funny, and that's what makes me more motivated to educate. And it gives me a sense of pride that I can tell somebody from, like my wife from New Jersey, that doesn't know exactly where their food comes from, to tell them where their food comes from and how it's grown, how long it takes to get a chicken to be grown, how long it takes a tomato to get ripe, showing the process of the tomato getting ripe. I had a neighbor the other day. I grew some tomatoes on in my house, and my neighbor walked by. He said, "What's that flower do on a tomato?" I said, "That's a tomato right there." Just simple stuff like that. Where you tell somebody that, and it opens their mind up to a whole different world, probably that they never knew about. So that would interest me, and that would get me started. And I could never say I'm a teacher, but I just want to educate and let people know where stuff comes from and how hard a farmer has to work and how much love he has to put into his growing for somebody else to eat.
Yes. So, on that note, what are some other challenges that you've experienced as an entrepreneur, and how have you worked through those challenges?
Well, my first challenge with me, I've never been an entrepreneur ever in my life. Um, um, my first challenge was money, and not saying not having enough, was spending too much. I wanted everything right here, right now. I just write the check. And actually, my wife said, "Babe, you buying all this stuff. What happens if something happens out the blue, a rainy day per se? We don't have any money to back up an accident or a tractor getting broke down or anything getting broke. Your main vehicle getting broke." And I said, "Wow, that was the first challenge." The second challenge was customer base for me. Um, in my mind, I slap a sticker on that says organic, and the people come out the hills and start buying all my stuff. That's not exactly how it goes. You have to advertise yourself. You have to sell yourself. You have to sell your product. And that was a challenge I had to get over. I talk a lot, but I talk a lot about football and probably some other random stuff. I never actually had to talk to someone to actually sell them my product. I just talk randomly and talk about anything else. So I had to get over there. I had to practice that stuff on my own in my house. I had to really sit down with my wife and make out a financial plan. Um, actually figure out how much acreage I wanted to farm my first year, and then my second year, then my third year, because I wanted to farm all 5 acres. Nobody's gonna buy 5 acres of stuff. I didn't have the right client base yet, so it just I was going too fast. I was so motivated. I wanted everything done the first year. I got 5 acres of vegetables out. Everybody's buying it, but it's a slow build. You have to roll with the build of your company.
Hmm. Yeah, so let's continue with that. What are some other lessons learned that you've experienced by doing everything that you've done up until now?
Um, ask for help. Ask for help. You're not the smartest person in the room ever. Always explore new avenues. Ask questions. Anytime I see an old farmer or any farmer for that matter, I ask a question: how can I do this better? How can I do that better? Is there a better plant out there? I go online. I look for the best product all the time and the best way to farm. I don't know everything. Yes, I grew up farming, but there's always a better way. And I would tell anybody, ask questions. Don't be ashamed to say, "I don't know that," or "Could you explain more?" or "Could you show me that?" Go to other farms. When I first started out, I started going to other farms. I have a buddy that I work with. He has pretty much a homestead, and he works with less less equipment as possible, per se, saying he gathers old wood and he built a whole shed off of old wood. Me personally, I just want to go to Home Depot or somewhere else and get brand new wood and spend all this money. And my friend down the road, he has a homestead. He said, "Why buy all this new wood when you can get wood that's semi-used and it's free?" I said, "Wow, different things like that." You don't always have to spend money to build something or start off your entrepreneurship or your business. Look for other avenues, stuff that's partially used, or go to a business and say, at one point in time, I wanted to do um, a garden bed that had cardboard at the bottom of it and soil on top for moisture control. I was going to just go buy a bunch of cardboard from a local store and put down on the ground. And my same friend I work with, he said, "Hey man, go to Publix or go to Wendy's or go anywhere where they have cardboard boxes and ask them, can you have their cardboard boxes? They're gonna throw it out anyway." I said, "Yeah." So I started pretty much almost half an acre of cardboard with dirt on top of it to do a controlled moisture for my garden. And that was free. That's money I didn't have to spend. So just ask questions. I said all that to say, just ask questions. Um, you're not the smallest person in the room. Investigate. See, can you use free stuff? It doesn't wrong with free. It's free. Don't be take that pride out your body, at your heart. Take the pride out and be able to say, "Hey, I need help," and ask for help.
Mhm. Yeah, that's fantastic advice, especially right now in light of the high prices and things like plywood.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yes, big fan of recycle, reuse, repurpose.
Mhm.
I'm glad that you mentioned that. So, what do you enjoy about being an entrepreneur? What does Eric enjoy about being an entrepreneur?
Freedom. Um, freedom to do and see where my business can go and will go. For me, it's just Eric. Yes, money is great. Money is the icing on the cake. But it's the freedom of knowing that I'm starting something that I can eventually pass down to my son. My son is a 21, and he's 20 year old young man. He's doing his thing, you know. He probably ain't thinking about farming right now, but eventually, when I retire and I'm done, I can at least pass something down to him, and he can do whatever he want to do with it. But at least I pass them down to the next generation. I have cousins. I have two nieces that love farming. You know, one's 12 and one's 15, and they love farming. They love coming out there. And eventually, maybe they'll take it over for me. You know, there's and there's nothing wrong with it. It's a lack of people wanting to farm, and it's unfortunate because it's a freeing. To me, it's freeing. Dealing with my PTSD, it gives me when I have my bad days of PTSD, I go out to my farm and I work until I fall out, you know, and I let all that stress out. You know, maybe I had a bad dream tonight about Iraq or, you know, just something remind me of being overseas. And I have to go for me out by myself and work it out. And I go out there and I get on my farm. I might do some stuff on the tractor, or I might just grab a hoe and just start hoeing weeds just because I need some extra energy. So it's just for me a release of stress, peace and quiet, um, you know, and just having something to pass down to the next generation. Because farming is how everybody eats, you know, and it should be passed down.
Absolutely, because I think we all like to eat. So
Yes,
I know I do. So
me too.
yeah. Okay, so considering our audience, what would be some advice that you could bestow upon our aspiring entrepreneurs?
The first one is when you're doing research on starting your entrepreneurship or you're starting your business. Yes, money is great. We all need money, but don't start a business that you absolutely hate doing. Yes, it might make you a lot of money, but if you moan and groan every time you get up in the morning to go to it, eventually you're gonna give it up. Eventually you're gonna give it up. Do something that you absolutely love to do. Every morning I get up when I come to work at University of Florida, I love it. It's the first time ever in my life that I actually get up and be glad to come to work. When I go to my garden, my business, I love it. I'm excited while I'm driving there to get to my farm to start working. That look at your finances. See, is it feasible to even start up your business? Plan everything out. If you have a spouse or someone significant in your life, talk to them also because they are along for the ride too. A lot of people don't understand. and I had to understand it too. My wife was along with the ride on the ride with me, and my first couple of months, I didn't ask her anything. And she one day she said, "Hey, hello, I'm here. You know, what about my opinion?" I said, "You know what? You're right. You because she's along the ride with me. You know, so talk to your significant other, your spouse, whoever. Talk to your family. See, can they do they agree with it, or do they feel like you could go a different path? So I would say do what you love, check out your finances, talk to your significant other, and just don't expect. Hopefully, I'm hoping for anybody out there that your business take off in a split second, but most of the time it doesn't. So just be patient and let it roll, let it flow. It may start off slow, and it may boom one day, boom, you have customers everywhere. You know, matter of fact, this year is the first year I've been doing it for almost 2 years now. This year is the first year I had too many customers. I couldn't keep up. Um, they said, "Man, we heard about you last year. I didn't get a chance to see you last year, but this year I got you. I want this, I want this, I want this." I'm like, oh man, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, it starts off slow. Don't get discouraged. But once it pick up, man, you'll be wide open and you'll love it. You'll love it.
Yeah. So basically, you have to be ready for success as
Yes.
well. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, actually sit down and just think about it. You know, have a good plan, a good solid plan. I went to entrepreneurship course over in Tampa, and it prepared me a lot for what's happening now. We had to write out a business plan. You know what we expect, what we think going to happen. Just write everything out. You know, I used to do everything in my head, and I forget a lot of stuff. But when you write everything down, it gives you a roadmap for what may happen and what you should expect in your business.
Mhm. All right. Well, I think you've really given us a great look into your personal entrepreneurial journey, especially in agriculture. So I wanted to give you one final opportunity to share a good story or something that you've learned along the way, or what we like to call a good sea story, the Navy. So something you'd like to share?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's just I I'll let's share this. It's one thing about being a farmer that I didn't understand and now I understand. You can't do everything yourself. When I first started my farm, I uh, I have a pond in the back corner of my 5 acres, and I wanted my garden so bad that I scooped out buckets of water to water a half an acre of garden with buckets of water, and I walked it back and forth, or threw it in my truck and drove it back and forth. And one day I was out there. It was so hot. It was so hot, and I think I did my last couple buckets to my garden, and I threw the water in the garden, and I looked up and I started getting dizzy, and I think I fell out. I think I fell out, and I woke up on the ground, and I woke up and I looked around, and it was a cow across the street chewing some grass, looking at me, and he was the only one out there looking at me. And I said, "What am I doing? What am I doing? I'm trying to kill myself. I had trying to water this stuff." And yes, I was premature about putting it in my garden. I wanted to put it in so bad when I should have made a plan out to put my irrigation in. Simple. I was spent maybe $500-600 to put my irrigation in, and I've been watering my garden like that. But I was so hyped up and so ready to start my garden. Actually, I hurt myself doing that, and it's just I share that to say plan everything out. Don't do things premature because you can't hurt yourself or overwork yourself. Uh, your body can only take so much stress, take so many hours up. You know, you have to take care of your body too. You got to take care of your business, but take care of your body also. Give yourself time for a break. You know, make sure everything's right in your whole life. So, yeah, I fell out. I fell out. The only thing look at me was a cow. The cow probably said, Look at this guy. What is he doing?"
I can't help but laugh at your stories. But I am so thankful that everything worked out and you're here with us today.
Yes.
That was a great story. All right. Well, thank you, Eric. I appreciate your time.
No
And
problem.
I know our audience will definitely benefit from your insight and learning more about your journey. So hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And
Yes,
thanks
yes.
again.
Thank you so much. Great talking to you. Seeing you again.
You as well. All right. Take care, Eric.
All right, you too.
Thank you.